What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing fantastically well. Today is Saturday, September 26th, and this is Raphael Garcia here for episode number 71 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. I want to first and foremost thank you for taking the time to check out our content, whether you do it immediately when it posts or later on in the week. But you can always find us across multiple channels. The flagship, first and foremost, at MMAratings.net. You can catch us on social media, Instagram and Twitter at MMA Ratings Net in both spots. The podcast network, you can check us out on YouTube, MMA Ratings there, and then on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and Breaker. Myself, you can catch me at rgarcia_sports on both Instagram and Twitter, where I am always talking my shit. So you can check me out there. Please feel free to do so. Well, we have quite a bit to talk about today. I will be hitting G1. I just finished up watching day two for Block A and Block B. Some great wrestling action we'll talk about there. AEW, they had another good week. I like what they did this week. We'll talk more about that too. I want to dive into that when we get to that section. And then WWE, of course, we're talking about the action from this week and also previewing their pay-per-view, WWE Clash of Champions, which is set for Sunday only on the WWE Network. As always, again, thank you for taking the time to check us out. And yeah, let's see what we have to talk about here. Just like last week, I want to start off with G1 first. And like I said, I just finished up watching the rest of night two this morning. And man, this has been some fun wrestling. And that's the thing that I like that I'm able to, excuse me, let me take a step back. The fact that I am describing these last four G1 shows I've watched, or the, goodness, sorry guys, today I just can't talk. Night one and night two for both Block A and Block B. Fun is the word that comes to mind for me. I've enjoyed every single match. There aren't any I didn't like. It wasn't anything that you could just throw away and you want to fast forward through or skip through. For me, there wasn't anything like that. Even today, with Evil defeating Yoshitashi, it was a good match. I don't really care for Evil or Yoshitashi, but it was still fun. It was still something that I sat and watched from start to finish, and that's really the main way I want to describe these last couple of shows. Because if you enjoy wrestling, if you enjoy professional wrestling, you just want to see some good content, turn this shit on. Like, it's $10 a month for New Japan Pro World Online, or whatever the hell they call their streaming platform now. But it's worth the money. It's worth the money, especially when you compare it to WWE Network. And I mean, I love WWE Network as well too, but this has just been some great wrestling from start to finish, and we're gonna jump into that in 1 second. So real quick, let's just blow through the results. Jeff Cobb defeated Shingo. Okada defeated Tanahashi. Taichi, excuse me, Okada defeated Takahashi. Taichi defeated Suzuki. Will Ospreay defeated Ishii. And Jay White defeated Kota Ibushi. That was Block A. Block B, Goto defeated Sanada. Yano defeated Tanahashi. Juice defeated Kenta. Evil defeated Yoshitashi. And then Naito defeated Zack Sabre Jr. Looking at those 10 matches, if I had to pick my favorite, it's probably the Jay White Kota Ibushi match. And Jay White is slowly growing on me. I talked about this last week. He's playing a great heel, and he can go for 15, 20 minutes. This was an excellent example of that. I really thought Kota Ibushi was going to win, even so much to the point where I really wasn't, I don't want to say I wasn't paying attention, but the finishing sequence totally caught me off guard when Ibushi takes the switchblade and like he plants right on top of his head, and then Jay White pins him 1, 2, 3, and I stopped for a second because I looked and I was like, this can't be it. I thought he was going to kick out or something like that, but he didn't. Jay White goes up 2-0. He's leading Block A right now, and I was just totally taken aback by that. The Ospreay and Ishii match was equally as good, and I hate this. Like, I don't know. Are we supposed to not like Ospreay right now? I don't know the rules around that. I know him and his girlfriend did some horrible shit trying to block the woman who had a sexual assault accusation against one of their friends. That's fucking horrible. This match still ruled, and I hate to say it like that. I'm not trying to say it that it's as if this overwrites anything that he's done. I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to feel about that. Either way, this match was fantastic. I am not a big fan of Ishii, but Ospreay made him look great in this match. I'm not gonna say he made him look great, but they both looked fantastic for this whole contest. And again, this is good wrestling. If you are looking for some good wrestling week in and week out, you might as well go back and watch these 4 matches, the main and co-main event from both nights. Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. So right before I started watching, I saw a lot of people talking about this was easily the best match so far. And I am not 110% sure I agree with that. I really think the Jay White match was better, just my opinion. But this match was still exceptional. There's something about Zack Sabre's abilities to get his grappling game over in a way that works for him. And what's important about that is I don't know if it's the Japan fan base, I don't know if it's the people that he's working with, but I wonder if his style would work in North America. It will probably work in AEW, so let's just be real here. I'm wondering if his style would work in WWE, where people sit down and on one side you have the fans that start that bullshit boing chant. Then the other side you have WWE Creative, which clearly doesn't like those styles of matches, at least too much of it. Zack Sabre is fantastic. I am not the biggest fan of his. His abilities are great. And coming from someone that has a grappling background as well, everything he does looks legit and he makes it work. I don't know too much about his personality. I haven't seen him cut any promos or do anything along those lines, but within the ring, he can go with anyone. And it is interesting to me to ever watch him compete because I feel like he makes everyone wrestle a different style than they're used to. Let's say if he had a match with Brian Cage, I wonder if he would force Cage into a grappling style section of the match that would blow people's mind away that he's just not some powerhouse chucking guys across the ring. I would be interested in seeing something like that. I don't know if they've ever had a match together. Brian Cage was just the first name that came to mind when I thought about muscles in pro wrestling. But it's still something I would like to see. I'm gonna have to go back and look through his cage match to see if there's anything in there. But Zack Sabre Jr. is an exceptional talent, and this match is fun. Please go back and watch it. What else? So Juice and Kenta was a good match as well too. If you have an opportunity to go catch Juice's promo after this match, where he cuts a promo on sharding, is hilarious. I don't know how he did that shit with a straight face, but Juice is. I like Juice. CJ Parker, whatever the hell his name was, in NXT. This guy can go. He's good. He's good. I don't know. And Kenta as well too. But I'm gonna talk about Kenta in a second. But Juice is good, man. I wish I could see more of him in like a AEW or something like that because I think that we would get to see more of his character. We could see him elevated a little bit more. I can never see him winning a G1 or winning the IWGP title. You know, was he the United States champion? What belt did he hold? Hold on one second. Yeah, I totally forgot that he is a 2-time IWGP United States champion, and he was the tag team champions as well recently. So they are giving him some shine. I just want to see this guy get some more. He could be something special. I could see him being the way Eddie Kingston has caught on fire in AEW. Just could do something along the same lines. And I don't know if it's going to happen. I doubt it's going to happen. I think he's like under a solid contract with New Japan. But still, this was a great match for both men. Kenta, I was talking about him as I was watching the match. I was tweeting about him. Those injuries in NXT really sucked the wind out of his presence there. A lot of people expected more. I understand why they expected more of him being there. He didn't deliver on that, but it wasn't because he couldn't deliver on it. It was because he couldn't stay healthy, and it got to the point where WWE didn't know what to do with him. Those last couple of matches he had with uh, Aleister Black before leaving, and I think he had one for the cruiserweight title. I don't know if it was against Buddy Murphy or not. I have to go see. But his last couple of matches in WWE were an example of what this guy could have been had he been there longer. And it's unfortunate that that's what we didn't get to see from him. And at the same time, we don't know if WWE has the creative capacity to give us that, or to give anyone that, just because we know we've seen what they've done with Ricochet, Kushida, so many other guys. We've seen what they've done with some of the best, and it's just it's not fantastic at all. So let's see, what else do I want to touch on from G1 this week? Yano and Tanahashi was fun. Sonata, he's lost two in a row. I don't know what that's going to look like for him. Jeff Cobb is out there doing Jeff Cobb things. Okada, Okada's not going to lose too many matches in this. I don't expect him to be in the final, or like in the final two out of Block A. But let's see what kind of happens with that. Man, Jay White defeated Kota Ibushi again. I'm still shocked on that. I thought Kota was going to come out of this group clean. He may still, but I wouldn't be mad at Jay White getting that push either. Over in Block B, I expect Naito to come out of that group. I'm glad I think Juice has 2 wins so far. So let's see what it looks like. I'm a fan of what I'm seeing right now. So again, please make sure you are watching New Japan and watching this content. I think their next event is the 29th, which would be Thursday of this week. Tuesday. Let me double check. I think that is when their next show is. And I will probably be watching it this weekend. Let's see. So their next show is the 27th. And I mean, go back real quick. So tomorrow's the 27th? Yeah, tomorrow. We're getting, I'm going to have to find time to watch this. This is going to be ridiculous. Okay, so tomorrow we're getting Jeff Cobb versus Suzuki. I think that's going to be a great one. Taichi versus Takahashi. Okay, whatever. Ospreay versus Shingo. Okay. Ibushi versus Ishii. Okay, but we're getting Jay White and Okada in the main event. Then for Block B, which is on the 29th, we're getting Sabre versus Kenta. That'll be a good one. Yoshihashi versus Sonata. I expect that to be Sonata's first win. Yano versus Evil. Yano is up 2-0. Tanahashi versus Juice. That should be a good one. And Goto versus Naito. That should be good as well. Then they've announced all the way through the 30th. And then on the 30th, we're getting Ibushi versus Cobb. Wait a minute. Yes, okay, so we're getting Ibushi versus Cobb, Suzuki versus Takahashi, Ospreay versus White. That should be excellent. Okada versus Taichi, and then Ishii versus Shingo. All that looks good. All of that looks good. So that's through the 30th. But do the best you can to watch them. You don't have to watch them live. If you're okay getting shit spoiled, you can catch them on demand. I've been doing a pretty good job missing spoilers, but it hasn't taken any of the fun out of these shows. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about AEW this week. They had a pretty interesting setup, and I like what they did, and I hope we see more of this. I'm not sure how they could pull off more, but what they did was they had a late night AEW on Tuesday after the NBA game. Now, the Lakers game finished up, I want to say their full production finished up about 12:45. So that's when the show started. It was an hour long. I think they had 3 matches. But before that, they had AEW Dark that night. AEW Dark, I don't even remember much of it except for the Ben Carter Lee Johnson match. If you want to see good wrestling this week, go back and watch the G1 matches I mentioned and go and add this one to the list too. Both of Ben Carter's matches actually. Ben Carter versus Lee Johnson on Dark, and then Ben Carter versus Scorpio Sky on the late night Dynamite from Tuesday as well. He killed it in both of his matches. It sucks because it just comes to find out that A, he's not signed by AEW, and B, he fucking has COVID-19 now because AEW had an outbreak situation. Not quite as bad as WWE, but we know that Ben Carter and Lance Archer have both confirmed that they have COVID-19. So get well. They're in our minds. Best wishes to them. But Ben Carter tore the hell up on Tuesday. He and Scorpio Sky put on a show. It was the opening match for Dynamite, Late Night Dynamite. So again, go back and watch. It was just great. everything. And Ben Carter looks legit to me. I'm wondering what they plan on doing with him. Let me see how long has he been around. Let me hop in here to Cage Match and see. He doesn't even have a Cage Match page. Um, this match was a lot of fun. They tore it down. The Lee Johnson page was good as well. So definitely take some time to go back and watch that because he's someone that should get some praise from that. And I think he's going to get signed. They got to sign him full time. They can't let that go. And what this brought up an interesting topic that was coming around. I saw on social media about WWE about how are they doing scouting in the future because they haven't. They had the Performance Center, and what they were doing was getting independent talent from other organizations. But how are they scouting for new, fresh names like a Ben Carter, like some other ones? I don't agree so much with what people were saying that WWE has a problem there. Yes, they do make the mistake of going after too many athletes, et cetera, et cetera. But they do find names like Bianca Belair, even Ty Conti. People are talking about how much she better looking she looks in AEW. Well, she was found in WWE first in the Performance Center there. They have people that I think are doing a good job scouting. So let's see what that looks like from a long term standpoint. But I don't think there shouldn't be much of a worry right now. But it's something to keep an eye on. This week we also got a match with Miro and Kip Sabian. I don't know who the hell gets Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. And what I heard a lot of, I did not go back and watch this match, but what I heard a lot of is that this wasn't a good look for Miro. And I'm interested in what everybody thinks about that. If he's getting off to the right start in AEW, this is the second week in a row I haven't heard the best things of what he's putting out there. And I wonder if it's who he's working with, how he's working, or if it's Miro himself. I think Voices of Wrestling made a pretty good point where we as fans can say that WWE got things wrong about a wrestler they may have let go or they may have parted ways with or somebody they may not have pushed to the moon. And while that is a good stance because oftentimes they do get things wrong about some of these wrestlers that they don't push and they let go, doesn't mean they're wrong about everyone. You're seeing situations with Shawn Spears, the AEW is trying to get him over. Zack Ryder was over for a hot second in WWE, but he doesn't make me want to turn to WWE or AEW in any way, shape, or form now that he's there. So let's see what happens with Miro, because right now I'm not too interested in him. Yes, he's the Bulgarian. Yes, he is the Bulgarian brute and he's a monster. I get that. But this whole Twitch shit, I'm not here for it. So let's see. Let's see what happens. My eyes and ears are still open, but they don't get an automatic pass just because it's AEW and it's Rusev. Where they are getting some good stuff out of is Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa. They picked up a win over Ivelisse and Diamante. Now, I have to see Shida and Rosa have a rematch. I'm probably going to write about this week. But if they rematch, that means Rosa has to win the title, right? Because that's a best of three series right there waiting to happen. And I don't know if they do a best of three series where both titles are up for grabs. I don't know if that's something that they can negotiate with NWA, but that match right there is a main event quality match for me. AEW can pull that off. That's huge. And like we've all been saying for years and ever since AEW started last year, that the everyone wins when these promotions find a way to work together. If AEW and NWA can set some type of model where it's like, okay, this is how we're going to work together, this is how we're going to book things, that looks good for AEW in the future. They can begin working with other organizations. Everyone wants to see them work with New Japan. Jon Moxley, the AEW champion, is also still the IWGP United States champion. And it doesn't seem to be any conversations about taking that title from him because right now Kenta is the number one contender. I think Kenta is going to take that belt from him when it happens, but that doesn't mean these guys will not work with New Japan anymore. We know Jericho wants to, and he has that leeway in his, We know Jericho has that leeway in his contract, and I think Miro does as well. So let's see if these guys can figure out a way to partner between the two promotions because that will work for everybody involved. We got a main event with John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, and this is exactly what everybody thought it was going to be because these two guys beat the shit out of each other for an extended period of time, and the finish is what everyone is talking about. I think the finish makes sense for what they're trying to do with Kingston, at least my understanding of what they're trying to do with him. And I think that Kingston is going to get booked into a solid main event angle sometime. I think right now maybe a little bit hot-shotted just because of this situation specifically because Archer is sick and he was unable to take part in that match. But if you notice, Kingston wasn't eliminated in the Battle Royal. And in this match, he didn't tap, he didn't submit, he didn't get pinned, he went out. So those are the types of ways that they can protect him, still see him take the loss, but they can protect him in a way that doesn't make him an illegitimate contender in the future. And he can be built right back up quickly over that. He's great on the mic. He's good in the ring. He makes people want to watch. Like I said, he's on my list of people that make me want to turn to TV. Him, Ricky Starks, um, Scorpio Sky, Hikaru Shida, Thunder Rosa, like Pac. These are the people that make me want to flip the from one channel to the next whenever they're on the television. So let's see what they do with him in the near future. But AEW had another strong showing. I don't know what their rating numbers was. I think it was in the eights. From what I remember, I haven't really looked. I think it was like another eights and six type of weekend. Don't really care, but yeah, we'll highlight that if something big happens there when it comes to ratings. So WWE and their content, last but not least, we're going to talk about a couple of things from the shows this week and then do a preview of Clash of Champions. So Retribution, they had their first match on Raw against the Hurt Business. I think it ended in disqualification. Don't even really remember. But the big moment, obviously, the moment that everyone's talking about is the fact that they changed everyone's names. I think it's T-Bar, Slapjack, Mace, Reckoning, and I can't remember what Mercedes Martinez's name is. Dijak became T-Bar. Dio Madden is now Mace. Shane Thorne is Slapjack. Mia Yim is Reckoning, and I can't remember what Mercedes Martinez is. And a lot of people were up in arms with it. Not necessarily up in arms, and that stands clear to me. It wasn't necessarily up in arms, it's just that people were laughing at them, which says more than you want. Because they won't be taken seriously with those names, and you see what people are talking about from backstage. I wrote about this, Sean Ross, based off of Sean Ross Sapp's report. John Alba was talking about it as well. That people were laughing at them, and they think this is going to be a hill that they will not be able to overcome. And that's unfortunate to hear, because they are some talented individuals, talented performers. But let's see if they can turn it around. You never know. You never know. They are diving into the act on social media, and they're lighting people up. T-Bar just fucking lit Chris Jericho's ass up over some stuff that he said. So it might work. You never know. If they let these people play more and be more who they are rather than giving them these bullshit promos about whatever the fuck they're talking about, then you never know. It might actually work. Let's see how that goes. And I still wonder who the leader is in this group because I don't think we've seen that yet. And that's something that they can hinge upon. I don't know how they're going to do that. I think it should be Tommaso Ciampa, especially him with that mask that he has, and we know that he can be a sadist, just beat the shit out of people. But let's see how that looks. They need something, and I think he could be a solid leader. He can work the mic, he can work in the ring, he has the look, and we know he can play that part. But I don't know if WWE Creative on the main roster has the faith to be able to get him there, and to be able to sell him in that position. I think hardcore fans will want to see that, but I'm not sure that the casual and the mainstream viewing audience would. So NXT and my boy Kyle O'Reilly is the number one contender to Finn Balor. I can't express how excited I am for this. He won the Elimination Gauntlet match on Wednesday, eliminating 3 people. He eliminated Bronson Reed, Timothy Thatcher, and Cameron Grimes to win it. Sign me the fuck up. Sign me the hell up because I want to see it. I want to see it all day, every day. and I am a fan of what this match will look like because there's nothing else that I really want to see other than these two guys go at it for as long as possible. This is the perfect main event. This is the perfect first feud for Balor. I was going for Kushida when this match started. I was like, there's no way they're gonna let Kyle win this. I thought they were gonna go back to Cameron Grimes. Thankfully, I was wrong. Thank you all for allowing me to be wrong because this is everything that I want. They have one more week to build it up before the pay-per-view takeover. I think is the following Saturday. Sign me up for this because this is going to be a great match. I expect Balor to win. What I see is interesting here is that Adam Cole is the only undisputed member that doesn't have a match for Takeover. He's kind of being pushed out of the picture, and I think that's going to lead to something eventually. But this is the match I want to see, and this is probably the WWE match I'm most intrigued in right now. Candice LeRae is getting a shot at Io Shirai. They're going to tear it the fuck up. We know they already have a couple times. And the flip in the character is going to be a nice little dynamic shift for the next aspect of this match. I'm here for it. Yeah, I think I can see Candice being the one to take the belt off of Io. I think she's headed for the main roster sooner rather than later. And I like this heel, Candice LeRae. I think she gives the women's division something different, and I'm a fan of this. At first glance, I didn't want Candice to be the one to take the belt off of Io, but she is probably the best worker on the women's division right now, if not her or Shirai. She's playing this character very well. She looks good. I don't know why people have. I've seen bullshit stuff about her looks in the past. It's stupid. I think she's very attractive. So let's see what happens because I'm here for this and I want to see. I think we're ready for a title change, even though Io hasn't held the belt for too long. I think pushing Io up to the main roster gives Asuka an immediate opponent because I don't think that they're going to push Bianca Belair immediately in that position. I may be wrong, but that's not what I think is going to happen. Alexa Bliss over on SmackDown is killing it right now. Last night's finish got a lot of people interested in how she's playing this role. And I think that is what people want to see. They want to see different stuff. They want to see things that are interesting to them. And the moment where she was staring back at Roman Reigns, it foreshadows a lot. That's what's important. And I think that was proper storytelling that I enjoyed. Let's see what this looks like long term. But I feel like Alexa Bliss is going to kill the spot that she's in right now. And I don't know how they're going to keep her in the women's division and also involve her in this Bray Wyatt storyline. But I think that there's space to make it work because she looks good. She has a fucking nasty sister Abigail. So let's just see how this plays out. I think there's some opportunity there. The Roman Reigns and Jey Uso segment, it's probably some of the best main roster television we've seen in a while, and it's been a consistent trend over the last few weeks with them. I like that promo by Jey Uso was perfect. Jey getting laid out and Roman standing over him, basically not necessarily talking shit, but letting him know why he needs to be the one to stay in his position. All of that is storytelling that WWE hasn't done in a very long time. I think that this is going to work. I'm here for it. I want to see it. I think Roman's going to beat the shit out of him for 15 minutes, which, okay, we get that, but what happens after that is what's key to me. So, Clash of Champions is on Sunday. And one thing I like to do on the show, I'm not going to talk about matches that I don't care about. I'm not gonna dedicate my time to that just to make this podcast longer. I'm gonna talk about the matches that I am interested in. Asuka versus Zelena Vega. This is on the pre-show. I mean, we know Zelena's gonna take that L. I think she's won one match while on the main roster. We know she's gonna take that L, but just see how good she looks. Let's see what happens. Maybe they do something where someone new attacks Asuka or something like that after the match or something. But this match, Zelena's about to get that work, and it's unfortunate. I'm going to be quick on Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. So quick by saying I don't give a fuck about this match. Skip it. Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews. Same thing. Don't care about this match one bit either. That can be skipped too. Uh, let's see. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. I'm ready for this to be over. I don't care to see this match anymore. I've read that this feud may go through Survivor Series. No one wants that. I think that Orton may get the win here, and they're going to hotshot the title back onto McIntyre. But this, like, Keith Lee isn't even on the show. What was the point of bringing Keith Lee up and talking about he's going to get some solid push or something like that? Everybody knew that that wasn't going to be the case. He's not even on the show. Maybe that plays out into his benefit, but I don't want to see Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton anymore after this. It's funny. Like I said, I've said it months ago. Drew McIntyre is having a lot of the same matches that Kofi Kingston had. Everybody hated it when Kofi Kingston was having those matches, but for some reason they're silent when it's Drew McIntyre. I need this to remain interesting. Drew is working as a champion, but get Randy Orton away from him, please. Let's see something different here. And they had the Keith Lee feud there, but they've already messed that up because they've given us that match 2 or 3 times already on Monday Night Raw. Bayley versus Nikki Cross. I think Bayley takes this in a landslide. I believe Sasha's going to be the one that takes the title off of her. But I wonder, again, like so many other things, how are they going to get there? I'm not sure if Sasha's going to be involved in this match. I hope that she isn't. I don't know if Alexa Bliss is going to be involved in this match. I kind of hope she is and that she costs Nikki the match in some way, shape, or form. But let's see there's so many different ways this can go. Let's see what the finish looks like tomorrow. But I'm here for this match as well too. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I just spoke about that. I think Uso's about to get this work for an extended period of time before Roman puts him away and gets the win. Nia Jackson, Shayna Basler versus the Riot Squad. I'm intrigued by this match too as well because we know that WWE doesn't like tag teams. I mean, they've broken up nearly every tag team they have. The Riot Squad is the only actual women's team that they have left, except for whatever that team that they just put together with Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. So let's look what that seems like. But I see much more value in Nia and Shayna fighting each other than being a team. It's funny and it's entertaining, but I don't see WWE creative sticking to it for an extended period of time. I don't know who wins this match though. If it's some shenanigans and the Riot Squad win, we know they're breaking Shayna and Nia up probably the next night on Monday Night Raw. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Lucha House Party. We know this match is going to clap, but we also know that Cesaro and Shinsuke are winning and keeping the titles. I almost would like to see Lucha House Party get a win, just like they did back when it was Kalisto and Sin Cara back in the day in NXT. I doubt that happens. We know Kalisto and we know they're pushing for a split with moving Kalisto away from them, and we know that those matches are going to be bangers. But let's see what happens. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if they hit us with a little bit of swerve here and switch the titles. Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn. Again, I do not care about this match. I'm over Jeff Hardy more than most. Styles and Zayn, I can watch them in any other feud. I wish they did something different with Sami Zayn. He has so much potential, and they seem to just be jerking that dude around as much as possible, which really sucks for him. I would like to see how this guy looks long term doing something else, maybe somewhere else. We'll see. But Sami Zayn is that dude. Styles, we know who AJ Styles is. I don't think he's going to be staying around in WWE too much longer once his contract runs through. But this match, don't care about at all. So before we close out, just wanted to hit some quick news about AEW and WWE having issues with COVID-19. So around September 9th, both shows had outbreaks that impacted their content. WWE NXT was impacted because it was at the Performance Center. Supposedly, a trainer didn't know he was ill. He was asymptomatic and spread it to some people there. A couple of people, and they made some shifts on their show. If you notice, this week they had that tag team match where it was like mixed teams. So a lot of people are assuming that that match had some issues because of the COVID-19 outbreak. But AEW did as well. Theirs was much smaller, and theirs was it's being looked at differently because they've been doing more ample testing than WWE. But they had some individuals who came into contact with COVID-19. As I mentioned, Lance Archer and Ben Carter are the two that we know about right now because they've revealed that on social media. So again, you can only ask that these promotions, these fans, these wrestlers be safe. It's like they're so close to having a massive outbreak across promotions. I mean, hell, Joey Janela can be in contact with Lance Archer. Joey Janela and Brandy Loren wrestle together or live together. Brandy wrestles in WWE. Like you don't want those situations to happen, and they have to be careful. They have to be really careful because yeah, they're in Florida where numbers are exploding still. Governor Ron DeSantis has opened the state back up. We know that that's going to have some negative impacts as well. So like they just need to be careful and be vigilant now more than ever. So I'm going to go ahead and close out today's show. Again, thank you for taking the time to listen to us all. As always, you can find all of the MMA Ratings content over on our flagship at MMA Ratings Net. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at rgarcia_sports. MMA Ratings is in both spaces at MMA Ratings Net, Instagram and Twitter. You can catch the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and Breaker. I'll be back on Tuesday with Shawan Humes to talk about UFC 253, which is tonight, and everything else going on in MMA. And yeah, we'll be back hopefully with another wrestling podcast next week, going on a little mini vacation. So let's see how that goes out. But all in all, thank you everyone. Love you all. Be safe. Have a good weekend.